Hello, I'm here to discuss my personal wish list for the upcoming Battlefield 6, which we may see this year, next year, whenever. With a few assumptions, let's get all the way. I'm gonna assume it's in the modern period, around 2020 to 2040, and with that, let's go on and get started on this list, shall we? Now, we will begin, to me, the most important, which is optimization, debugging, input lag. This needs to be not spotless, but it cannot be bad as the last 4 games combined. I remember Battlefield 1's watch actually being pretty good, but 4's, 5, Hardline, I know that's not DICE, but it's under the series. And then if you want to even count Battlefront, 1 and 2's launch were also awful, with us not being in the dark for a few years now. And with the Battlefield franchise and DICE not having the best track record at the moment, not in their golden age like 3 and 4 and all that, they cannot release this game in a buggy, horrible mess where you get shot around the wall or you don't even get an indicator you're taking damage till you drop dead. But on the other person's point of view, you took 8 shots. Example is I remember waiting for half a year for the Name of the Czar DLC. I'm sure everyone remembers who is a Battlefield 1 fan how long getting that second DLC was, and it released as a horrible, buggy mess to the point where some maps, in my opinion, were unplayable because the structure, I'm not sure what's going on, structure, weirdly coded, spaghetti code, all that fun stuff. We cannot have this happen. Please, I hope they actually test out the game, the sandbox, and make sure it's in serviceable condition before releasing it to the public. Now we're going to get into some of my weapons I would love to see added. I'm not going to give stats and all that because, frankly, I can't really say what should be balanced, what's not, without me actually playing it for a bit. It's all hypothetical, but the first weapon I like to see is the FNFAL. Probably the best battle rifle ever made, probably behind the G3 and AR-10. You use this, typical 7.62 or 38 by Winchester. You can use it for full auto, but they highly unrecommend it just because third shot you'll look at the ceiling. It's uncontrollable, but it would be kind of cool seeing this, classic weapon. If not, you could probably modernize it, give it, the polymer handguard, the stock, and all that. But there has always been one of my favorite battle rifles, and I would love to see this make a comeback in the newest Battlefield. Next up on the line is the G3, the German rifle. I don't see this gun used in a lot of games. I don't know why, or even media. Almost, I wouldn't say forgotten, but getting close, where I think the last time we've seen this implemented was Bad Company 2. I could be in 3, but don't quote me. And I remember COD 4 and the remastered version of it, if you want to count it. It's a really good battle rifle. It's known as one of the best, up there with the FAL, like I said earlier. I would love to see this gun give it some more spotlight, bring some more pride to the HK family. It would be a good weapon to add in. Now this next weapon's not the most unique. It's just in Battlefield 4. It's not really forgotten, but so iconic, and it was so fun to use. It's the M60E4. This is one of my favorite weapons of all time, so I will admit bias towards this. It wouldn't fully fit in more of a 2-day or near future setting just because it's retired, but other countries still use it, like Turkey for example. But it's such an iconic weapon. Usually always has this really, beefy sound with firing it. I think this will be just a good LMG all in all to make, the quote-unquote powerhouse one where it kills people quickly, slow fire rate, but high accuracy. Can't really go wrong with this one. But yeah, this is probably my favorite LMG of all time. Probably or tied with one, which we'll get into that one later. Now we're probably going to the opposite end of the spectrum with lightness, quickness, not the best accuracy. That's the Curse Vector. This thing has one of the most insane fire rates I've ever seen in real life. But the thing that makes it so unique is how it handles recoil. If you're familiar with the AK-103, all in all avoids recoil with this very unique bolt system. Trust me, it's a video deserving to watch on the Vector and the AK-103. That what makes the Vector so special is because it null and voids recoil, making it have no recoil in real life, despite it firing a 45 ACP at such a high fire rate. I think there would be a really, really cool SMG to play around with in Battlefield 6. It wasn't Hardline, but it was under a different name and looked a little different. Maybe it was another model, I'm not sure, but either way, I would love to see this make its first appearance in a Battlefield game. Now, here's that LMG I was speaking of earlier that competes with M60 as my favorite. That's the MG3. This is the modernized MG42, and if you know anything about them, you would know they are called the Buzzsaw because of the insane fire rate they could produce. For the MG42 time, it was out of the world. Even today, it's probably one of the fastest firing LMGs. If you need suppression, this thing got your back. This thing was also in Bad Company 2, one of my favorite LMG to use. I used it all the time. I would love to see this thing to make a comeback once again. This would probably be the fastest firing LMG to maybe balance it out, give it bad damage, high spread, all that fun stuff, but it would probably be an excellent addition to the game and the LMG arsenal. Now here's a fan favorite from Bad Company 2, XMM8, or the fish gun that has been dubbed. Probably the weirdest looking assault rifles ever, and I think the prototypes have ended, but it's like based off that G36. I don't know much about them, but I know a lot of people like them, and I like them because how weird they look, how they have a huge selection where it's supposed to be like LMG, sniper, assault rifle, a very standardized weapon to fit all platforms. I think this would be another excellent addition just because how weird it is. I mean, it's just an oddball. Please add this back. Bad Company weapons need to make a comeback. Now to the one and only sniper I have on this list, the SVD Dragunov. This thing's a classic. It's under the DMR category, usually confused with a sniper, probably because it was technically a sniper when it was first rolled around, but it got classified to DMR, all that fun stuff. Made it during the Soviet Union. Many countries still use it around the Middle East region. I think even Russia still uses it, just a bit modernized. And this wasn't in Battlefield 4. I'm not sure when the last thing this thing was in a Battlefield. I know last time it was used in a COD with Modern Warfare 2019. This would probably be a very spam. No, actually, probably wouldn't be spammy. It would probably be a hard hitting DMR because there's only 10 rounds in a MAG. They could even make it a sniper, bring back semi-auto snipers back if they want to. Such a classic weapon. I think a lot of people would like to see this to make a return as kind of either a spammy sniper rifle or the heavy hitting DMR. I would like to see it, like to, swap around with it. Great addition. Now next to another assault rifle, the G36 and its variants. See, in Battlefield, we really only see the G36C. I want to see the full-size G36 and even have spin-offs of LMG and a sniper. It's very based off the XM8, or the XM8 was based off the G36. A lot of similarities, both made at H and K. This one's going to be a shorter clip, but G36 and its variants, I think, should be implemented. Not only the G36C, give its other brothers some love. Now it's time for the shotgun. I picked the Caltech KSG. It's technically a bullpup pump action shotgun. If you've seen any images, you see this as a weird weapon. I think the last time I saw this was on Black Ops 2 back in 2012. I'm unsure if any militaries are technically using this today, but it's such a distinctive weapon, and BF6 could use a lot of those distinctive weapons. It's be kind of, be nice to see. What I would do is make a super mobile shotgun with, quick aim to sprint time and all that because of its compact size, but suffer in range because of the shorter barrel. But this is definitely an addition I would like to see. Now here's the revolver. Instead of the classic 44, I went for something bigger. I went for the biggest. The 500 Smith & Wesson revolver, the most powerful revolver in the world. It could be a pickup weapon if they really wanted to make a one-shot body shot, all that, if they really wanted to get goofy with it, but I doubt it. Could just be a copy and paste, or maybe it could do more damage, but, obviously higher recoil, higher kick, like you're gonna be looking up in the air, gonna be almost impossible to really chain shot it, more sway when moving around. This could be a really fun weapon. Get your little cowboy out, whip out your revolver, shoot some guys, swap to another weapon, have fun. Totally a fun weapon that could be definitely added. Now this isn't really one weapon, but it's just an idea. Since it's in the Middle East, let's face it, there's a lot of insurgencies there, and they don't have the best military gear in the world. They could do insurgent weapons. They could do old weaponry like a PPSH-41, DP-28, PPSH-43. Though the sky's the limit. Even add in the classic AKM. Not the AK-47. AKM is the most common rifle. Not the 47 or AK-74, AK-74U even. Even old American weapons like old M16s. Those are quite common too. There's so much they could just do by just adding these insurgent weapons. I think they could get creative, have fun, really just destroy these iconic weapons, just be cursed, like slapping a red dot or ACOG on a PPSH. Yeah, that won't make sense. That'll probably look awful as hell, but there you go, there's your cursed weapon. And it'll be kind of fun just to run around with these ugly fucking weapons, like these weapons that should have been thrown out the window and fucking smelted into steel. I think they could have fun with this. I hope they take full advantage of it. Now here's the part I've been waiting to share. I have a list of goofy weapons. I believe they jump along Battlefield. They've had it for so long, with even Battlefield 3 having a crossbow, Battlefield 4 with the Phantom, 1 with the Colibri. Not sure what 5's is. But the first goofy weapon I have, the Zip 22 pistol, and I don't think any other pistol is more deserving to be the quote-unquote modern Colibri. It is a 22 pistol that is known for failure. Just fail after fail, jam after jam. The most uncomfy handgun you can ever wield. And it's perfect. And the two attachments only for it should be an ACOG and a comically oversized drum mag for it. I will show you the picture of why those should be the only attachments you should put on the 22. Now for the second goofy weapon, I picked the 50 Beowulf AR-15, a non-military rifle shooting the equivalent of a 500 Smith & Wesson. Yes, please, this would be the excellent DMR for a gag. It's really just you're shooting a gigantic oversized pistol round at someone's gut. Maybe have it do a lot of damage, but horrible bullet drop, bullet velocity, but it'll hit hard. Really fucking hard. There'll be a perfect addition for a goofy weapon. The last but not least, I just did variety. Double barrel shotgun, lever action revolver. Just get the full, Wild West loadout in a mono shooter. Why not? We had a lever action Battlefield 4. Too bad it wasn't a primary, so you could run it with the revolver. It's just, I think this would be a good addition on. Don't take the game too seriously. We have our goofs, we have our gags, we have our memes. It's not a competitive shooter. You can be competitive, but this ain't no esports, type of player base here. Just have fun with the weapons and all that, which is why I think these old Wild West weapons are just a great addition to the game. Now, to the pickup weapons, I would like to see these make a return, so here's a few. Now, here's my favorite shotgun of all time. The most fun, anytime it's added into a shooter, I always have the most fun with it. And this one's the AA-12 with a 32 drum make. It's a full auto shotgun, no recoil, be a monster in close quarter combat. Like, imagine using this in Metro or Locker. I think if they really want to try and make this balanced so it could just be used as a normal shotgun, by all means they could go ahead, but if they can't, this should replace the Playground USAS or just the normal USAS as the close quarters monster. Now here's another classic, won't need much of an intro, the Barrett 50 caliber. What's there to say that hasn't been said? It's a semi-auto giant sniper, usually spammy, one-shot kill anywhere, can pierce light vehicles, planes, helis. I would like to see this to make a return to Battlefield 6. It was one of my favorite pickup weapons to grab, especially got the medium scope to it. They could really make it work in close quarters or medium combat. Please, I want this back. Now, here's another pickup weapon, and it's completely out of fiction, but I want a modern day flamethrower. Flamethrowers aren't really used nowadays because they're a war crime and it's really dangerous for the guy carrying the flamethrower. But if they were to implement one in, I wouldn't want just, a fucking propane tank farting out fire. I want the real liquid fire, napalm, where it actually has range. You see the stream of fire. They could make it without being an FPS killer. I mean, Battlefield 1, they had something really close to it where it actually shot out, like a liquid fire. But then Battlefront 2, it just became a gun that just shot out fire. Just, it wasn't good whatsoever. If they do implement this, please make it napalm and liquid base like a real flamethrower is. Now, here's the launcher pickup weapon, the Carl Gustav, and I would have a weird balancing thing that it's immune to any active protection, because Battlefield 4, if they popped it, literally no rocket could hit the vehicle. I say, nope, fuck that. This thing goes through it no matter what. It's a kind of a fuck you rocket launcher. I say that because the pickup launchers in 4 aren't good. I never been killed by them. I never got a kill with them. I have a good amount of hours in the game, reaching near 1,000. Just never got a kill with them. So I say they could use a drastic buff. How? I say maybe one with the Gustav. I wrote maybe do 40 damage on any part of the tank and then 80 behind it, but you got 1 rocket or 2 rocket. Have a generous splash zone like RPGs from Hardline or all that. I think that those buffs would make the pickup launchers, actually sought out weapons people use. Remember, these are pickup launchers or pickup weapons. They should be powerful. They should be more powerful than the weapons you have, which is why they are like I said, a pick-up weapon, not a weapon you can just equip and run around with. Now, here's one I don't think many people were expecting. I want elite classes and behemoths to come back. I found them fun at Battlefield 1. They were nice additions. I know they were kind of supposed to replace pickup weapons, but if I can't have both, I want these. And the first one I have is a Juggernaut. Gonna be the more modern Sentry. I say either have an AA-12 or a LMG, M60, or even maybe you may add elite class customization where you can actually pick which weapon you get to get if you get the Juggernaut armor. I say maybe have him take 5,000 damage before dying. Again, this isn't meant to be a balancing video with no speed reduction, just because let's say this is a 120 player game. I don't think moving as slow as molasses would be the bit much fun, assuming the maps are gonna be bigger. So yeah, I want a modern day elite class Juggernaut. I think it's kind of obvious there. If they do this, I think this would be fun, but not too, overpowered, because I feel like a lot of people are gonna direct aim their guns right at the Juggernaut, and if he is, well, again, it's an elite class, kind of should be overpowered. There's only gonna be like one or two on the map. Players should kind of fight for them, type of deal. But yeah, Juggernaut. Now, this could be kind of repeating from a pickup weapon, but Flame Trooper, modern day flamethrower, all that, better armor, maybe a speed increase, since he's, by how I want, flamers to have, liquid napalm, still could be closer range than most other people, so he's gonna need that speed increase. But yeah, short one, but I would like to see modern day flame trooper. Now, here's one I think that'd be fun. The modernized tank hunter. Instead of using just the 50 cal, no, he goes one step above. He uses the .95 JDG rifle, which is the largest centerfire rifle in the entire planet. Say it does more damage against armored targets and does damage against tanks even. But this is the trade-off. The 950 has one shot, you're pulling the entire bolt out and then loading another one. Imagine it's a mini howitzer, to put it nicely. But yeah, this would be, I think, just fun. Could make it like the tank hunter where it requires you to use a bipod. But I suggest looking up the 950. It's a ridiculous rifle, and if they're going to do elite classes, this rifle would most definitely fit the modern tank hunter. Oh yeah, obviously as another balancing tip, again, shit range. Bullet will drop heavily compared to other snipers, so you can't just dome someone across the entire map with a one-hit rifle. But yeah, modern tank hunter. Now, I want to say this guy's my more unique elite class. He is pure supportive. He gives specialized ammo to people, like depending on the weapon they have. Sniper, bullets with no drop. If you have an assault rifle, he gives you hollow points, does more damage against humans, but maybe less against light vehicles like ATVs and boats and all that. But shotguns, better, basically upgraded frag rounds or better buckshot. I think some form of more of a supportive, like a literally a support elite class would be nice. Because we didn't get that Battlefield 1, and they bring them back. Expand the idea a bit. I think this would be fun, maybe a bit too powerful, especially with the sniper no drop thing, because it would make them super easy. But again, not a balancing discussion here. It's just a wish list. Now to the behemoth. I want the AC-130 to be a behemoth instead of something the commander can call. Cause Battlefield 4, some say it was overpowered. I'm sure it can get if you really spend hours and hours in it. But, there isn't that many commanders in a game. You usually get maybe one every 10 to 15 games. And a lot of servers have them straight out banned. So I say just make it a behemoth that flies higher up, that takes more than jets to just kill. Like, it would take a long time. This is gonna be the blimp replacement from one. I say instead of just 4 seats, get around 6 to 8 seats, 105 millimeters, 240 millimeters, and 325 millimeters. Now, again, this could be broken or overpowered. I could see how But the difference with this one actually circles around the map instead of one objective. No one can fly it. It's on a set path. I say that would probably be its biggest weakness, because the AA learns its path, or pilots learn its path on the enemy team. You can really predict it and then gun it down from there. But I would like to see this as a returning behemoth. Now, for the other two, I'm just going to shotgun reel out, because I really have no clue what to do. Naval, I said missile battleships doesn't really work. Maybe a missile cruiser instead, but they kind of look kind of small, and if these are going to be 128 player servers, needs something a bit, larger, definitely. So I kind of made up a battleship, a modern battleship. And then for the ground, not really sure on what to do. Maybe a dual railgun tank, like the main driver gets a railgun that looks like the one on Battlefield 4, a bit more beefed up, can do a lot more damage to vehicles. But that's kind of really it with the behemoth there. Sorry if that's a bit underwhelming, but I really have no clue what they could do. Now I'm going to talk about game balance, what I would like to change from old Battlefields to this one. This I will partake in a discussion if you have a counterpoint, or I can bring up a better point, and all that. Just be sober about it and all that. Let's get into them. Snipers need to be tuned out better. In 1 and 5, they were nearly hit scans, or that's what it felt like. With one even having one-hit kill zones, they were just too powerful. But in Battlefield 4, I would say they were also pretty underwhelming, because it was a really slow bullet. Getting those satisfying long shots was quite hard to get, respect to anyone that can hit that 1,000-meter sweet spot. But I say a mix where it's quicker but slower than BF1. No one-hit KO zones, unless they make them. The only time I'll be accepting is if they make them slow at Battlefield 4, same with the cycling speed and all that. But how 5 and 1 had them too powerful, in my opinion. They were nearly hit scan, they were annoying to deal with, and I'm pretty sure others could agree with me. Really lowered the skill cap of snipers. I want LMGs to be buffed. Battlefield 1, ridiculous, mainly because of the bipod. Bipod is super spammable, almost no repercussions getting it set up. But 5, horrid. I hated them, because there's no point having that big of a mag if my gun overheats after 40 to 50 rounds. I get it, it's realistic, but Battlefield isn't a realistic game. Get that out of your head. Just because it has a bullet drop and spread does not make it anywhere near realistic. Even Arma, a game that is usually considered a milsim or squad, they don't have LMGs overheat. The only type of overheating I've seen was in Rising Storm Vietnam, and even then, your barrel would warp. The game would not force you to stop. If they want to add an overheating mechanic that makes LMGs less reliable over time, fine, but do not force me to basically go through a reloading animation. I want to spit ammo down the field. That's why I pick an LMG. I don't need to be more accurate, I want to shoot more bullets. So, make them almost Battlefield 4 LMGs, where they were pretty strong, and it was hard to bipod them. If they fix the bipod system in this game, which would be excellent, not overpowered, but it's not 4 where you're constantly spamming the aim down sight and just hope and pray a guy takes his bipod out. Again, it's a mix where it needs to be easier, but not Battlefield 4 difficult. AAs need to be buffed. BF5, they were pea shooters. A lot of planes just learned to bomb the areas where they were, and then they were nerfed. So you had to tank up a tank slot, which was pretty powerful if you want a reliable way to shoot down planes. I'm sorry, pilots of Battlefield, you need a counter. Tanks have ground troops with ATs. They could choose AAs, but obviously they're not as good as a dedicated AA. But they also have tow missiles, attack helis, even jets. You guys can deal with one vehicle being dedicated to shutting down air traffic. Like, and you know what? If you're a pilot, I believe, that Stinger and Ingela, a necessary balance, like 4, for example, good for you. I'm talking about these pilots that outright ban the Stinger Igla because they claim that it's overpowered when they're really not. Or they ban you if you use the AA in Battlefield 4. Nope. AA needs a buff. It needs to actually scare pilots out of an area so it can do its job, which is counter the aircraft. Now, here's an interesting idea I propose because I think it will make shotguns just more fun to use and more fun to go against. And it'll be easier to balance them, so you could actually make full auto shotguns, balance like the AA-12 or USAF. And that's disable shotgun blooming. And you may ask, what is blooming? This is the mechanic that makes shotguns randomly spread in random directions. The reason why I say disable this, because like I said, if you have them fire in a fixed pattern, you could make them more reliable. At the same time, have the range you want them to have. Less luck. Increase this skill cap. I will show a video on what a disabled bloom looks like. And I just feel like without this bloom mechanic, if a shotgun's overpowered, it's easier to actually nerf because you can make that fixed pellet spread go wider or take a few pellets away or just outright nerf the damage. I want no supplies for vehicles. It was a good idea and maybe could be implemented better, but too many people kind of just camped the supply routes for those vehicles with AT mines and all that. And you could argue that's the tanker's fault and all that, but I say that's kind of just bad design because you're just putting a tank where it's open and where the enemy's expecting them, because one of the perks of being in the tank, or one of the things you got to learn being a tank is don't be where the entire enemy horde is, and if that horde is camping your supply and your only way to get more ammo and your team needs a tank, see kind of what the issue is when you force someone into a bad position. It's not good design. If someone is in a tank and they go on a 60-80 kill streak on the enemy team, that is fully on the driver, and that's actually on the team's fault too. Because if they go on an 86, those insane kill streaks, enemy teams just ain't doing a good job on trying to destroy them, where instead of running javelins or whatever, they're still running an all-purpose launcher like the RPG or SMA or the Straw, where they should be taking down the guy that's been that anchor on their pushes, on them holding flags. So get rid of that. Just revert vehicles back how they were, where they could run out of ammo in that magazine, and once they're out, it takes a super long time to get another round in the barrel. Just do that. Much more balance, less infuriating on the tankers. Harder for a team to just camp where they know they have to go eventually. Just do it that way again. Now we're going to go over game features I like to see. These aren't balances. These are just more details that I want in. And the first one would be factions. Give me factions back. US versus China, Russia versus China, all that. Don't do this coalition versus Op4 bullshit or allies and axis. It's not as fun. It's hard to get more immersive when you had designated country with the announcer and your troops actually speaking that language. It was just a nice layer of immersion and a really good added detail. Bring these back. They need to be back. It was so much nicer, and it was just that nice little touch of detail. Now here's one area in the world that just hasn't been getting love at all. Only got loved at the very end of Battlefield 5, and I want an Asian theater. Even if the main conflict in that Uzbekistan area and all that, they can add a big DLC for an Asian theater. See Japan versus China, South Korea versus North Korea, Oceania even with Australia, even add India, as a major player in an Asian nation. Like, there'll be a good matchup against China. I would like to see more care brought into that more eastern part of the world instead of just European powers and Russia and China. Japan, South Korea, Atom. There'd be another nice layer of immersion. And imagine the maps you could do where Japan has such a beautiful and iconic like geography with like cherry blossom trees, Tokyo. You could easily memorable maps right there that have not been taken advantage of. Now this one could sound a little edgy, but I want blood and gore to make an appearance in Battlefield, first time ever, because it is such a good hit indicator instead of just hit markers, and all in all, it makes heavier weapons feel more satisfying. You have a high-powered sniper like a Barrett, hit someone in the chest, poof, red mist. You turn that guy into fucking mashed potatoes, or as a tank, shoot a shell by a guy, get that cloud of dust with a little bit of red, because you just blew him the fuck up. Again, a good indicator. Especially with shotguns, hit someone up close with a shotgun, there goes a hunk of shit of them into the wall. It's a good indicator, underutilized. A lot of shooters in general don't use it. I kind of get there's a little more effort to put into it, especially good, other than Battlefields for like bright neon blood. Trust me, go more detail with this. I think it'll be satisfying. It'll make weapons more satisfying. Make for an excellent hit indicator. Remove infantry animations. It was nice for immersion, but it kind of got annoying, especially when it became to health and ammo where you are spamming F. I mean, you are just jamming that to get your ammo or health. To make them AoE again. To make the crates AoE because 5, they were just useless. And I'm aware in later balancing, it's like they did kind of revert back to the old style, but not really. It's a weird thing. And ignore and stop. Don't have my guy scream in pain. It was not fun hearing for like 10 seconds a guy just ear piercing screeching in my headset, or some person trying to put on a fake accent like with 5 where the British accents were pretty fucking awful. It was a lot of them were exaggerated. It was a lot with the females I noticed too. It was just exaggerated and high pitchedness, just annoying. Please, you go add that bleed out mechanic. Have an option in the files that says turn off death screams. Please, I don't want my ears bleeding again every time I play one of your Battlefield games. Now you could kind of consider this balancing, but more starting ammo for your primary. Actually let me fire my gun in, full auto without huge penalties. Like you saw with 3 to 4 megs and 5, but then you swap to your secondary, you have like 9 megs. You're telling me my soldier could not find, take 2 megs of their pistol out and put, an extra primary ammo slot there or whatever. I don't think should be like 5 level, but I think we should at least get 5 megs starting, and that could carry up to a maximum of 8 megs if we get a support to put his crate down or whatever. I think that's a good balance. Not at the hundreds of rounds you would start out 4, my bad. But you're not so ridiculously strapped for ammo like in 5. This was also one of the things I kind of dislike about Bad Companies. Limited starting ammo, but there's also more supports, AoE, kind of balance it out there. Now this, to me, is the most important fix. Out of all these you could do this for PC. Fix these server browsers. Do not show me like 5 servers that are alive. If fucking Day of Defeat can nail a server browser where it's constantly updated, there's dozens of servers populated, and you can be more specific what you want with good ping and all this. There's not even an excuse for 4 to have such an awful server browser. This needs to be fixed on day one. Good server browser. Now let's get the big C word out of the way. Crossplay. If the rumors are true, and there is going to be 128 players per server, I say it has to be enabled because that is such a big server population. You need to do any means to fill up the server. And crossplay is one of those means. I mean, you could go without it if, like I said earlier, fix the fucking server browser so at least PC players aren't here, stuck with like 3 options just in our area. So yes, I say yes to crossplay. Now, this may sound too godlike, and I'll accept maybe it has no place in Battlefield, but I kind of would like camos to grind for, or something for my weapon other than service stars. I want something to put on my weapon that shows I have done this with this weapon, X amount of kills or whatever. And admittedly, I do think golden camos have just been the best way to show that. Now, like, you could just do attachments, but, that's not as flashy, I kind of wouldn't mind camo challenges or something, or you could even do variants of the weapon where it doesn't change stats but the looks. Like, you can, after like getting like 10 service stars with the M60, you can make it look like the M60 from Vietnam or with the G30s, go back, to the first or second. That would be one way to do it. But I kind of think camos would be the best way to do it. 4 had a few, but it was just random challenges like get X amount of kills on this map with this. I want dedicated challenges to weapons. It makes it more fun, more of a use to use them, and just not, experience out of your comfort zone a little if you want to get all these challenges done, be a completionist. Now, for weapon stats, I think Cold War has it fucking right, where they show the numbers, detailed numbers. I mean, even old games before, like Payday done this, for example. I want to see the true numbers, not just little bars on estimates, and I gotta guess from there. No, just give us bars outright, say, yep, a weapon does this, 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 and that. Even give us maybe reloading times, all this. Players alike get better. It's a good way to micromanage your attachments, how you want to build your gun. Like, let's say you want to go a no-brain, just hip-fire machine. Well, you can look at the numbers and crunch the best hip-fire weapon. I think a lot of players are like this instead of just very, very vague bars. Now, time to talk about everyone's favorite topic, monetization. How to monetize this game. Well, I mean, it's a wish list. If I could wish, none. But that's not how it works. I just say, despite how generic it is now, I say it's the most customer friendly and best way to keep a game actually going with live service, and that's a battle pass. Because paid DLC just divides the player base for years, and we want this game to be successful, because we know it will just be working on a skeleton crew, kind of got the Star Wars treatment or Battlefield 5 treatment, where Battlefield 5 I think got one major update and then that's it. Battlefront 2 had more plans in stock but got cut early by EA. If we need extra, or DICE needs extra, they can add camo packs, skin packs, if they really want to go the card route, which has shown to be successful. Just sell camouflages, whatever. But I think that would be the best way. And with that, that's the end of the wish list. I hope you enjoyed. Hope there's some interaction. If you got a counterpoint, feel free to say, or I guess up to add, feel free. I'll respond. Have a good day.